you to live in a conducive environment, you need to live in an environment that is free from pollution. That is to say, diseases that are being transmitted environmentally can be influenced by environmental factors such as poor drainage system, noxious odor, proximity to waste, and to mention but a few. Welcome to a fresh episode on Health 247. I am Irene Okechukwu. As usual on this program is everything relating to your health, always making health your priority. And today we have an environmentalist. She is going to be taking us through on this topic, environmental sanitation. She is Miss Loretta Boniface, and she's here on this program. But before we switch to her, if you want to be part of this program, you can follow us on all our social media handles on Official Rapid TV. And as usual, you can keep watching us on StarTimes channel 176 on Rapid TV. So don't go nowhere, but we'll be right back. Some people find it difficult to discuss their health issues. Others believe that their health issues are spiritual. Are you wondering? All ages are involved when discussing health. Join us on Health 247 as we bring you answers to all your health-related questions. Health 247 will provide you round the clock on health tips. Join us on Health 247 as we bring you answers to all health-related questions. Watch Health 247 on Rapid TV channel 176 on StarTimes. All right, welcome back, viewers, on this topic, environmental sanitation. Ms. Loretta, it's a pleasure having you on this program, Health 247.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here too.
Okay. So we have lots of environmental issues that kind of affect our health, especially the way we live in. You see so many poor drainage system that is close to our homes, and this is breeding lots of mosquitoes. At the end of the day, people fall sick, having malaria here and there. Some people, there's also what we call the cholera outbreak due to poor drinking water. All these are environmental factors as well. We also have proximity to waste, which people dump refuse close to their houses, which causes smell of, obnoxious smells. So can you give us an overview of what this environmental sanitation is?
All right, thank you so much, and it's really good to be here on Rapid TV. Thank you so much. Environmental sanitation is it's a conversation that should be ongoing among everyone, especially in this country, Nigeria. Yes. When you talk about environmental sanitation, for me, it is basically promoting hygiene. Yeah. When I talk about hygiene, I mean hygiene in my home, in my place of work, where I do business, in my school, everywhere I know should be habitable for me, should be in a very safe and conserved environment, and a very good structured environment for my healthy living, most importantly. So that is, for me, the concept of environmental sanitation. How should I promote health? How should I stay away from pollution? And when we talk about pollution is diverse. We talk about water pollution, waste pollution, noise pollution, land pollution, and all these things accumulate to exacerbate some of the health conditions that are currently underlying among a lot of us. We have a lot of people that are suffering from issues that concerns their lungs, some people even skin, because I know of a particular community that suffered from skin irritation at some point, because somehow, when you talk about wastewater and water logging, and you have a dogged well close to that environment, wells get their water from sucking, and sometimes they suck from this dirt, and you end up having it as a source of your cooking water, drinking water, and even bathing. And it has a long way to go on how it treats your skin, your health, how your water, and how important hydration and drinking water is in a human body. Okay, look at that scenario and picture you taking in dirty water instead of a healthy water when you want to dehydrate, or when you want to hydrate yourself. So these are some of the issues we have when you talk about sanitation. And again, I would like to mention that in our society today,
yes,
individuals really are nonchalant when you talk about environmental sanitation. You have a lot of communities, a lot of local governments, a lot of states that have scheduled a day or two in a month.
When they do their sanitation.
When they do their sanitation. Yeah. And you find out that people go about their businesses.
They don't care.
And even when there's enforcement of regulations, tax sometimes, you find that people like, okay, I want to like go beat this law and do what I want to do. It is not about the state, it is about your personal health, personal hygiene. That day is set aside because they understand that a lot of people go about their businesses. You see some markets go about their day-to-day activity without thinking of how do I conserve, how do I clean up this environment and keep the place clean for myself. So that's why some of the states enforce it as a law that, okay, this particular day should be scheduled out for cleanup in all aspects and in all areas of this state and this community. So it's a way of also encouraging people that whenever you find out a community like that, do well to adhere, do well to participate, and also volunteer, because that's the way to go. Volunteer in some of these activities that concerns cleanup and promotes hygiene.
Okay. So you just said something about the waste disposal, even the drainage system. You were talking about that, and we were talking about recycling. You see, so many people, they form the habit of whenever they consume anything, they'll just trash it. They just dispose it anyhow, notwithstanding the cost of it later or the implication. Just like someone who drinks bottled water, sometimes they have a waste bin to dispose it, but they wouldn't do it. They would just, they just throw it on the ground. And when rain falls like this, it carries it to the water. It carries it to the stream, any nearby, and it also causes danger to the aquatic animals in the river. So tell us more about that.
Okay, when you talk about effective, and I would say effective and sustainable waste management practices among people, it's also a big thing, especially in some of the communities across Nigeria. It's a normal thing for you to drive and see someone driving in his own car and throwing out waste from his car. And to him, it is very normal to happen. I think I've had issues with people in several gatherings, or even when we're sharing, when I'm in a public transportation, I see you eat something, I try like, this is not the right thing to do, can we do it better? So it goes a long way to tell you how aware people are about the situation and how nonchalant. It's like the issues that fuel their nonchalant attitude is lack of information, lack of education. If they are aware of where this waste go to, it's just like people, like there's this community where we went for advocacy at some point, and we found out that, okay, the community in the upstream dump their waste in the river, not considering what communities in the downstream are facing.
That's true.
You understand? Because it's easy to just dump in waste from the upstream. Yes, it's a waste, rain is falling, and I can easily go out, which is like, it's becoming a normal practice in Nigeria. When rain is falling, okay, let me just quickly take out this waste and pour it in the waterway, not minding where it is going to. It is distorting someone else's farm. It is distorting someone else's water. Because some of this water, when it goes, it causes gully erosions in some of these areas. And sometimes this disposal have a way of clogging the waterway. Like I'm talking about the gutters, that's the waterway we have, and some of the
canals.
Yeah, the canals we have. And these things have a way of leading to what we call flash flood. When the rain falls, these drainages are meant for water to pass through easily, and to like curb erosion in some of these areas, or even curb flooding in some of these areas. And when you are practicing or when you are having activities that have a way of clogging these waterways, you have your plastics, you throw it in the drainage. Plastics take about 400 years to degrade.
Wow.
That's what people don't know.
Wow.
So when you throw your plastic today, you come back in 20 years and it is there for you.
Wow.
And that's why in my organization, one thing we do is to promote recycling, reusing, and reducing.
Wow.
The 3 R's of conservation. Okay, as a human, as a community, as a child growing up, what do I know about recycling? What do I know about the sachet water I'm taking? Should I also throw it out? What about the cartons, the paper waste I'm using? What about the metals? Are there people that recycle them around me? Are there places I can go and learn these skills and also have a way of promoting environmental sanitation in my community? These are some of the conversations that should be going on.
So right now, we're going to go on a short break, and when we return, you're going to tell us the purpose of this environmental sanitation. So stay tuned. Some people find it difficult to discuss their health issues. Others believe that their health issues are spiritual. Are you wondering? All ages are involved when discussing health. Join us on Health 247 as we bring you answers to all your health-related questions. Health 247 will provide you round the clock on health tips. Join us on Health 247 as we bring you answers to all health-related questions. Watch Health 247 on Rapid TV, channel 176 on StarTime. All right, viewers, welcome back on the short break. Right now, we are going to be discussing on the purpose of sanitation and why we should maintain a good sanitation to stay healthy. So can you tell us more on it?
Okay, the purpose of environmental sanitation.
Yeah.
I think environmental sanitation is everything we need, because I think the first man that came to this world met this world in a very neat and a very stable way, very conducive way for him.
Yeah.
It was our activities that made it, and I want to talk about the current heat wave that is happening now. These are all man-made, building some of those little things that we ignore, thinking it's just what I'm doing personally, it is just me doing it. When you are doing it, you are encouraging millions of people to do the same thing. Exactly. You have young people looking at you. What do you encourage them to do? So some of the purpose of environmental sanitation, besides the health aspect, which is really, really important, how do you treat your health? Yeah. What are how do you treat waste around you? Yeah. Because as a human being, you must produce waste. Yes, that is one thing. You must generate waste. Yeah. Because as a human being, like, we are created to even generate waste from our excreta. That's the first place to start with. So I can't find a human being that doesn't produce waste at all. Yeah. So how the conversation is, how do we manage this waste, since it's a mandated thing for us to produce or to generate? How do we go about managing it? How do you look at your environment? As a young person, what are the innovations you are putting through? What are the creative things you're putting into to see that cleanups are being done effectively? You're having some of this waste that can be recyclable waste recycled in your community. These are little things that we should put our hands on. And there's this program we're currently running with young people, and we call it the Oya Recycle program. We go to communities, especially in the northern part of Nigeria, to train young people on effective waste management. How do they recycle some of this pure water sachet into usable items? And one of the training we did last year was training them into recycling pure water sachet into interlocking tiles. Wow. Yes. And there's also this project we did in a community in Guruku in Nasarawa State, where we tasked the community to pick plastic waste, that's the bottles, and we use it to build a toilet structure in a school, in a community school, to combat open defecation. Because that's another problem. Open defecation is a big challenge that also exacerbates a lot of things. Infectious diseases. You see people going to defecate anywhere. And notwithstanding their health. Yeah, you talk about the smell. The smell is one aspect of it. You're even talking about the nauseous odor. The nauseous odor, that's just one aspect of it. What else does it cause? Smell can lead to miscarriage. That's what people don't know. I don't understand. Miscarriage? Yes. Like what type of miscarriage? Women miscarriage? Yes, women miscarriage. Pregnancy miscarriage. Because when you have toxicity in waste, in odor, it has a way of transmitting to your lungs and down to your womb. That's some of the things waste and strong and toxic odor does to the body system. So we as humans should try as much as we can to live in a clean environment. It's good for ourselves, it's good for other natural resources around us.
Okay, what about the aspect of overcrowded houses? Because in modern cities, you see, because they're trying to economize space, they don't even try to. There's no building plan. You see houses being attached together, like they are just so close to each other that you can't even see a single tree. And this will cause, at the end of the day, it will cause what they call air pollution. That is to say, any little smell you perceive from a house,
the neighborhood,
or the neighbor, it will come down to your house.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to cause a lot of what that air pollution is going to cause, and even cause this call it there will be poor ventilation. So what do you have to say about it, and what encouragement do you have to give for it, or what advice do you have to give?
Okay, those kind of settlements you mentioned is a common thing to see in the outskirts of cities like Abuja.
Yes.
And because Abuja has a master plan, so when you go to some areas in Abuja, you see that they are well planned. Houses are situated where they are supposed to be situated, and you also have green areas, where we call green areas, the parks, where you find green trees and all of that. And some of those houses are urban slums, where you find in the outskirts, and sometimes they are termed as temporary settlement, where people just settle without a plan, because there's no plan for those kind of houses. And one thing I encourage is that government should see to it that even in communities, living spaces should be well planned for. There should be space for green areas. There should be space for drainages. You understand? Because when you go to some of these urban slums, there are no drainages. So I can pour water on my how do I call it, in front of my house, and it's rushing down,
coming back to you,
or coming back to me, or rushing down to my neighbor, and my neighbor is taking the heat. So, but when there is a structured plan and there's a master plan for settlement, it doesn't happen that way. So just I'm encouraging the government to see to it that most of these settlements are well planned.
Okay. So before we move further, how can we maintain a good environmental sanitation? Basically, not just on the drainage system, proximity to waste. How can it be maintained? Just like you see, this waste disposal. Yes, in the city we have those people that come to carry all this waste and they go to dispose it somewhere. But if you go to some rural areas, they don't have people who do this for them. Like, they don't have these environmental people that come to dispose waste. You see them most of the times, they burn their waste together. They just create an incinerator and burn everything there. Sometimes you just see them burning things, and this burning alone can even cause, I'll still go back to that air pollution I'm talking about. So how can we approach this? How do we maintain a good environmental sanitation?
Okay, and that's a good question. Thanks for that.
Okay.
I think in the city center, Abuja Environmental Protection Board are really doing a lot to see that waste are being evacuated at the right time. I've seen that, I've observed it, and it is happening. But then when you go to communities where some of these services and some of these facilities, like there are communities that don't even have what we call the structured dump site, not to talk about the landfills. Landfills are really, we have maybe one or two in the whole of Nigeria. Because we have what we call the mechanized landfill, well structured, well, okay, this is where the waste is supposed to come from, this is where you capture methane gas, for whatever. There are innovations around that. But then let's talk about the common things like the dump sites. There are communities that don't have access to this dump site. And that's what encourages some of this behavior and some of these activities that go ahead in environment where, because I've gone to communities where I take, because I'm aware of that, so I don't dump my refuse or waste anyhow. So, but I've gone to communities where I have to hold my waste for a longer time looking for where to dispose it, because I don't have those kind of communities don't have like an easy place where you could just go and dump your waste and move around, move with your life. So some of these things are what encourage lack of proper sanitation and encourage dumping of waste in some kind of areas where it shouldn't be dumped. And this go a long way to tell the government to provide some of these facilities for the areas. Some of these dump sites should be provided, and not only provided, waste should be evacuated where it is supposed to. Because you find out, okay, some of them provide dump site, but then you find waste overflowing and waste everywhere around that, as it's got, no one is coming to evacuate it at a scheduled time. So these are some of the things, and I would like to also talk about awareness amongst people living in some of these communities. If you are not aware of something, if you don't know the health implication or the overall implication of what you are doing, you won't stop doing it. Some of those people don't even understand why. They understand that waste is a bad thing. They know waste have like a negative impact in the environment. But then what are the little solutions that the government can aid them with to help them effectively manage their waste, besides educating them? Educating them is one way, because when you are educated, you can even have a voice to demand for some of these things. But if you are not educated, how do you go about it? You live your life for years to years, and you don't care about some of these things. So to sustainably manage waste, education and awareness, sensitization should be there. Communities should also be trained on advocacy to understand that, okay, sometimes when we don't have access to these facilities, we should speak up to the government and to the relevant authorities around that environment to provide these facilities for us. Because it's part of our fundamental human right to live in a clean environment. Because if you tax them to clean up the environment, after cleaning up this environment, where do they dump the waste? I want to be healthy, I'm cleaning up. So will I go and dump it in another person's house? No. So some of these things should be provided for these communities. And advocacy is the way forward for this community. So communities should be trained on advocacy to speak up for some of these facilities if it is not available in the communities. And also government should do well to educate them as well. Yeah, because when they're educated, then they will know that they need advocacy, and advocacy is a way to voice out or speak up for some of these issues and how they can be tackled. So
I want you to tell our viewers, especially those who will be watching home and will be like, okay, how can I manage my waste? What better advice will you have for them?
One thing I tell people is your little action matters. So no matter how little you're doing it, it really matters. It speaks volume to the environment and to the planet. So one thing I would like to say is that we should all observe the 3 R's of conservation and protection, which one is recycling. When you have waste, try to sort them out, segregate them to look at which ones are really recyclable, which ones can I quickly recycle. The plastic waste, there are people that really do a lot in communities right now and we have a lot of recycling companies along these communities right now. You can look for a recycling company around you to take your waste, and this waste are money now. I think a kg of plastic should be about 100 to 150 naira.
Even abroad, if you're picking waste, like picking just plastic, you'll be paid like $20.
So I think it's about waste currently in Nigeria. Plastic waste about 120 to 150 a kg.
Can you imagine?
Naira. Naira.
You just said 120.
120 naira.
Is it okay? I thought you said 120,000.
No, 120 naira. So these are the quick ways to even have economic value, to add economic value to some of these ways that are supposed to be a menace in the environment. So, but when you don't recycle, how do you reduce? What you don't need, do not buy them. You understand? Because these are some of the things that encourage wastage. Because I don't need it, so let me throw it away. Or how do I think of reusing? We have a lot of, especially, I have seen a lot of people, especially in the city center, having reusable cups, reusable water bottles, and that's the way of. Each time I see people with that, I'm glad and I'm excited. I'm saying, oh, it's really, we are taking the baby steps, but then we are moving to a sustainable future. You understand? To that healthy future we all envision. So these are some of the things we should do. Anything you can reuse, recycle, or reduce, please do well to do it. And then I will add, and I will also reiterate to say, your little action matter.
All right, viewers, that's the much we can take with Loretta Boniface, who is an environmentalist, and she's also the co-founder of EcoCycle Development Foundation. That's why you've heard her speak this much. So we'll be glad to have you on our next episode on a different topic. So keep watching Health 247. I remain your host, Irene Okechukwu. Bye-bye and stay safe.